Greetings and welcome. So I have finally completed my first draft of my novel, and it's crap, but that's okay. Its only job is to exist. I finally have the whole story written out in order, and that's all I need right now. So now that I've completed my first draft, what's my plan? So my plan going forward, from advice I've seen around and it makes sense to me, I'm actually taking my first draft and putting it aside, putting it on hold for a little bit before I go back in and do my full edits. Because since I've been working on it, I've been so close and focused on it for such a long time, I need to take a step back, give myself a little bit of space from it, allow myself to kind of let it become new again and have a better perspective on it rather than having it, right up in my face, right, in my thoughts all the time. I need to put it aside so that I can kind of come back to do the edits with some fresh eyes and with more of an editor's stance than a writer. So actually, once I go back to it, I'm gonna actually start with just going through and making notes of what I want to edit, because I'm worried that if I go, okay, I want to edit this, and I'll get into it, and then I'll get way too deep into doing those rewrites rather than getting through the whole story and figuring out what I want to change and making sure this part matches with that part, because that's the biggest thing is, especially since I wrote it sort of topsy-turvy and with a scene here, scene there, I want to make sure all the scenes make sense in order and make sense with each other. Hey, I said that here, but then this contradicts that, so I want to go through the whole thing sort of as a general sort of look over, almost with a step back, not actually go in and do the rewriting until I've looked through the entire manuscript. Then once I have all those notes, I'll go in and actually do all those edits. And then once those are through, I'll go a little deeper into word choice edits, making sure I'm picking the right words for what I'm describing. And in that set of edits, I'm actually even going to have just one go through to add and edit any of my footnotes, because that's one of the elements of adding it. I really wanted to take the type of footnotes that are in Discworld and put them into my story, because I love that sort of sarcastic, witty, narrator making comments kind of footnotes, because I know a lot of times footnotes are just and here's the information about this thing I'm talking about. But in Discworld, it's really side note from the narrator kind of things where it's snarky and sarcastic, or just, they're always hilarious, and that's kind of the vibe I want for my footnotes. So I want to go through and just do a full edit through with those, because they're an entire element unto themselves, because you have the story and then you have the little inserts from the narrator. Part of the way I want my story to go, because it is a friends to lovers but really idiots to lovers, because they don't understand that they're in love with each other, I kind of want the reader to get the vibe that the narrator is annoyed at that, guys, just freaking get together, what are you doing? And so I want that to come out in the footnotes, because I feel that's almost an aside from the narrator kind of a writing technique. So it's not exactly in the story, but it's you get snippets of the narrator being what the hell are they doing, kind of a thing. So I want to go in and just have one full edit, just that, so that it doesn't get bogged down with the rest of the editing. And that'll be in the word choice, because I feel that's more where that kind of fits in. So then when I've gone through that, I'm gonna narrow in even further to doing the spelling and grammar. So the really nitty-gritty, nitpicky kind of editing, where it's make sure it's actually spelled correctly. Because the way you want to edit, I've found, is you do big to small, because there's no point in fixing the spelling of something if it's just going to be thrown out. So that's how I'm doing it. I'm doing it scene-wise, to word choice, to grammar. And that seems to be the best way to do edits. So that's my plan. And I know I did a separate video just on that, on how I want to do edits, but this is, now that I've got the first draft, that's what I'm going to go through. I'm excited about that, because I feel I am a little bit more of an editor than a writer, because again, when I used to start writing, I would write, and as I'm writing down a sentence on paper with pen, I'd be going back and editing it. It's okay, so I clearly enjoy editing. And I think it's going to be really fun to go in and just focus on editing, because I focused on just getting the story out, throwing words on a page, and now I take those words and I mold them into the perfect story. And then once I've done all my edits and I have my manuscript in a place that I think is good, then I'm going to reach out to more people to do beta reading. I'm still in contact with the beta reading group I had that originally read and critiqued my excerpt. And I think once I get my manuscript fully done and ready for other people to read, I'm gonna send it out to them to see if they would read through the whole thing and give me critiques, because we've already done critiques, I've critiqued their stuff, so we have that bond there, and they're very nice people, and I really am enjoying doing beta reading with them. So I definitely have them as beta readers, but I'm also going to reach out to just literally anyone who will read my story, who reads this type of genre, because I want a wide array of opinions and people reading it, and anybody who might pick up this book, I want to get their opinion before I actually publish it anywhere, because a reader's opinion is more important to me than an editor's opinion, but I want to like just sort of shoot it out to as many people as I can and then go into the nitty-gritty. Like, I want general thought, because again, it's like the editing. I do big story ideas, then narrow it into the nitty-gritty. So first is beta reader. What's your opinion on this piece? How did the story go? How did you like the way it was told? Kind of a thing. Because I feel like the focus of a beta reader is more how the story plays out than really nitty-gritty grammar things. And yes, if there's a major spelling error or something like that, they'll point it out, but they're not being an editor, they're going through the story and giving you their opinion of how it's being told. So once I get a bunch of beta readers, then I will go out and look for an editor to really focus in and do professional editing on my story, because as many times as I edit it, I'm not a professional editor. I don't know all the little nitty-gritty, the technical things that are really required for publishing a book. And I want as much help as I can get to make this story the best it can be. So I'll do self-edits, then beta readers, then a professional editor, and then once that's all done and it's a really strong manuscript, then I'm going to be sending it out to publishers. I've been doing a lot of research and thinking about what type of publishing I want to do, because there's anywhere from the big five to self-publishing, and there's also a lot of different things in the middle. It's not just if the big five don't accept your manuscript, you have to do it yourself. There are smaller presses, or there's ones that are hybrid publishing, so that they have the resources, but you do most of the funding, because again, with big five publishing, it's mostly taken care of by the publishers, but they're harder to get into. And then self-publishing, anybody can do it, but you have to do everything yourself. So I want something sort of in the middle there, so I'm looking into different options, and again, this is going to be a while down the road. I'm just kind of noting out my different steps. So once it's gone through my edits, beta readers, and a professional editor, then I will look into the types of publishing I want to do. I will probably throw it out to a few of the big publishers just to see. I don't know, you never know. Worst case, you waste some money on a query letter, but it's worth a shot. But I'm not going to put all my eggs in that basket. I know that there's a wide variety of different options to publishing my book, and all I want is for people to be able to read it. I love this story. I want to share it with others. So however I can do that. I love a physical book, so having my own writing as a physical book would be absolutely amazing. But since I decided to put my manuscript aside for a minute so that I can let it refresh and have fresh eyes on it, in the meantime, I actually started going back and writing my next novel, which I'm very excited about. It's more of a found family kind of story, and it's been really fun to go back and write it, because I had written out sort of a general outline for it, and I'm going back in and like starting to write. I realized there's certain things where like, oh, that doesn't make sense, I want to do it this way instead, and just having the experience of writing one story and then going to another one that I had kind of started and going back, I can see the improvements I've already made in my storytelling and my writing, and so it's really nice to see how I can improve that story as well. So while I'm letting my first manuscript sit, I'm writing my second one, and anytime I can, I want to be writing, even if, okay, this project needs a little time to marinate and give myself some room from it, I'll move on to this one, or I'll do some writing exercises. I just want to keep my writing muscles exercised. I just want to keep thinking about writing and doing writing, because the more you do it, the better you're gonna get. It's like exercise. It's gonna be tough and hard and not good at the beginning, but the more you do it and the more consistent you are with it, the better it's gonna be. It's been really interesting learning how to write a novel. I just went, I'm gonna write a novel, and figured it out on my way, and I've been reading and watching podcasts and going to little online conferences about writing and just sort of soaking up all the information I can and figuring out how it works best for me, because it's different for everyone. I feel like that's part of the difficulty with writing is, yes, you can get all the advice out there, but a lot of it is contradicting, and some people like to do it this way, some people like to do it that way. Like, you have the plotters and the pantsers and then people in the middle. So it's not all one size fits all kind of a thing. So sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out how can I do it. So really you just have to try. And if you're writing it and it's like, this is painful, try a different way. Make it fun. Find a way to make it fun, and also give yourself the space to be stupid, to write whatever and just put words on a page. Again, it doesn't have to be ready for publishing as soon as you put it on the page. That is a terrible, false idea, and I've had it before. It's like, as I'm writing, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. It's like, yeah, of course, it's new. It's kind of like expecting a newborn to be an adult. Like, that's not gonna happen. You need time to develop. That's what your writing is. When you start off, it is this newborn baby, and you need to take care of it and nurture it into a functioning adult, which is the novel. So that's exactly the same thing with writing. You have to nurture it and get it ready, but then at some point, you need to send it out into the world. So I'm excited to get into editing now, and I'll have another update for you when I've gotten into that. And in the meantime, let me know what you've been working on and what techniques you have for your editing process, and even what you do to keep your writing muscles sharp, what kind of exercises and things you do to keep yourself writing so that you keep getting better. And as always, I hope you all have a wonderful day.